Okay, so the next big one, of course, is the JFK files. And I must say, I'm relieved to see a big batch of JFK files because the Epstein files release was an absolute travesty. It was completely ridiculous. It was all in the public domain already. So there's obviously something very fishy going on about the Epstein. We'll go into that later. But the JFK files, there are people all over the world now pouring through 80,000 new documents. And I love to see this kind of open source creativity and productivity going on. And, you know, if you're not on X, I highly recommend that you get on X just to follow, because people are posting so many treasures that are getting found. And fundamentally, everything seems to be leading back to Israel. And I want you to know very clearly, and I'm saying for the record, for the 1000th time, I have not a drop of anti-Semitic blood in my body. And I'll explain that more as we go along. But I'm really willing to call out Israel. And that's got nothing to do with race. It's got nothing to do with religion. It has to do with the behavior of a certain cartel of people. And it turns out that that cartel, which was, well, I'll go into that later on. I'll break down why it doesn't even have anything to do with Semites. But anyway, it leads back to Israel and to Mossad. And if you look at the evidence of who organized Kennedy's Dallas trip, which was a change, who owned and was doing business in the building that Lee Harvey Oswald was shooting from, who was behind Zapruder, who did the film on the grassy knoll. And it goes on and on. In fact, Sandra just enlightened me before the show, because in my research, Lyndon Johnson is one of the major people orchestrating the entire assassination. And I didn't realize till Sandra just told me that he has a deep Israel connection. And one side of his family was actually Israeli Zionist. So the pieces keep fitting together. Jack Ruby, who shot Oswald so he couldn't blow the whistle. Jack Ruby was actually Jack Rubenstein. And it goes on and on. And fundamentally, it keeps going back to that the Zionists felt they needed nuclear power in order to survive and dominate the Middle East. And that this guy Angleton was slipping secret information to Israel about the nuclear reactors. And then, the Clintons especially, and others were selling information and selling nuclear materials. This is what the whole, what was her name? Karen Silkwood, who worked at the nuclear reactor where a lot of nuclear material was stolen and then sold secretly to Israel. So it keeps going back to the Israeli Zionists. And I believe that the Zionists have had the power that they've had. They dominate the United States and been taking over one country after another in the Middle East, using the U.S. as a proxy military arm. But the reason they've had all this power is because the Rothschilds have been controlling money worldwide for centuries. And the main reason they had so much power is that they were able to convert a fraudulent bank accounts in England back at the time of Napoleon and Waterloo. That's another whole story. But anyway, they were able to basically persuade all major countries in the world to adopt this Rothschild central banking system, where the Rothschilds themselves are the ones who get to print money, just as if you were playing Monopoly with them and they got to print money and you didn't. How long would it take them to win? And they're almost there worldwide. Now, we've talked about this a lot on this show and in our films. Well, not only was Kennedy trying to stop Israel from getting nuclear power, and he was trying to, in his words, blow the CIA to smithereens and scatter the pieces to the wind. He had also just signed the Green Hilton Agreement with President Sukarno, and that was going to use the Asian gold from Indonesia to back the dollar and get away from the fiat money. So those are just like three of many reasons why Israel, using Mossad and the CIA, simply could not let Kennedy continue. And so